Okay, so if you've been watching Modern Warfare 2 tips and tricks videos on YouTube over the past few days, you'll have undoubtedly come across these videos that say, this is the best M4 class setup, absolutely no recoil, OP. And I'm here to tell you guys that 9 times out of 10, I'm afraid to say it, these videos are total BS. And that's not because these creators are trying to dupe you or trying to fool you, it's because of the way in which we unlock attachments in Modern Warfare 2. Now look, unless these creators have unlocked every single weapon in this game all the way to max rank, then I'm telling you that there is absolutely no way that they can definitively tell you that they have got the best class setup for any gun in this game. That's because for certain attachments that are going to be best in slot for some guns, you will have to progress through other guns in order to unlock that attachment. A perfect example is for the Cronin Mini Red Dot Sight, which you unlock at like level 13, I think, for the shotgun, the Expedite 12. This is by far the cleanest red dot sight in the game, and unless you have unlocked it for that shotgun, you will not be able to use it on any other gun in the game. And this stands for a lot of attachments too. So I just wanted to give you guys a little tutorial, a little guide for how to build the best possible class setups for the current progression that you have at any given time. This means that you'll be able to get the absolute most out of any weapon in the game without having to watch 100 different videos that are all saying very different things. I will just say quickly, if you're enjoying these Modern Warfare 2 tips and tricks videos from me, then it would absolutely make my day if you would subscribe. My current goal is to try and hit 30,000 subscribers by Christmas, and if you could make that happen, I would be eternally grateful. So let's hop into the rest of the video. Okay, so here we are in the gunsmith. Now there's a few things that I want to go over in order for you to be able to make the absolute best loadouts possible. Now I'm doing this in a private match just because that means that I'm going to have every single attachment unlocked in the game. Like I said before, unless you have leveled up every single gun in Modern Warfare 2, you're not going to have every single attachment, and therefore it's pretty much impossible to think that you have the absolute best class setup for any given gun at any given time, because you could be missing some best in slot attachments. Now, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is going to be your aiming stability. If we head over to the muzzle attachments, you can see a whole plethora of different muzzle attachments. Things like this silencer here, this is going to affect your aim down sight speed and your aiming stability and your aiming walking speed. Now the pros of this are that it gives you the sound suppression, the bullet velocity, the damage range, and the recoil smoothness. Now in a gun like the Scar, and especially when you're playing the 6v6 multiplayer, the bullet velocity and the damage range really aren't something you're going to have to consider that much. Now when we look at the other positives at this attachment, you have sound suppression, which any suppressor would have, and also the recoil smoothness. Now if you watch the Exclusive Aces recent video on these settings, the recoil smoothness actually does like literally fuck all. So by seeing this as a positive, you could actually be hindering your experience. For example, over here, the aiming stability actually affects your recoil a hell of a lot more than the recoil smoothness. For those of you who don't know, the aiming stability is how much your gun will bounce from side to side when you're aimed down sight without firing. However, in the past few years, the aiming stability has actually carried over to when you are firing the gun. This means that if you have very low aiming stability as you're firing the gun, you're going to be having a lot more side to side bounce, which is effectively giving you more horizontal recoil. So for this reason, I would always choose to have a suppressor that gives you sound suppression and also no negatives to your aim down sight speed or your aiming stability. So on the Scar, personally, what I believe is the best suppressor to use will be this Echoline GSX. This gives you the sound suppression and recoil smoothness. Now, as we spoke about, the recoil smoothness doesn't actually do a whole lot. However, the sound suppression will mean that you're staying off of the minimap whenever an enemy has a UAV, which actually is quite a lot in this game, considering that every single person runs a UAV. So the first attachment we're going to go for is the Echoline GSX. So bear in mind, this isn't exactly a guide for the TAC 56 alone. I really want to emphasize that I'm just trying to show you the best way to think about when you're making your loadout so that you can make the best loadout for each individual gun depending on the attachments that you have unlocked. So next, if we look at the barrel, we only have two options here. Now one of these options is going to give us damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. Now for me, the benefits do not outweigh the cons, especially when we're talking about 6v6 multiplayer. So if you hop over to the 12-inch, this is going to give you aim down sight speed and hip recoil control, and it's only going to affect your bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and damage range. Again, with the lines of sight generally being less than like 80 meters in most of these multiplayer maps, you're really not going to have to worry about these things too much, so it's always better to get that extra aim down sight speed where you can. Now, moving on to the laser. Obviously, we've all seen by now the special canted Vibro .7 laser for the TAC-57. This is actually really cool because it means that your ADS speed goes way up, but when you ADS, you do not look down the iron sights or a sight. You actually use the laser itself, and wherever the laser is pointing, that is where you're going to be firing. Again, this is a perfect example of you will not have this unlocked unless you have leveled up the TAC-57 in general. So you won't be able to use this on any other gun until you have leveled up this weapon, but once you have and you have unlocked this laser for this gun, you'll be able to put it on any build you like. Now for the lasers, basically if you're running an SMG or a shotgun or something, then obviously the laser is going to benefit your hip fire in most cases. However, if you're running a gun like an assault rifle, then honestly hip fire should be your last resort in any case. So for that reason, I would look through all of these different lasers and all of these different options to see what benefits we can get for the least amount of cons. And right here at the beginning here, we have aiming stability plus, but with no cons whatsoever. Again, this seems like something that you might not even care about. However, aiming stability, although it's called something different, is actually going to drastically improve that side-to-side bounce or horizontal recoil. Now, moving on. I would always go with an optic with an AR just because you get that much cleaner sight picture. This is always going to be down to personal preference, and no one is going to be able to tell you the right sight for you. However, for me personally, I really like this Cronen Mini Pro. This is the sight that if you played the beta, you have on the blueprint for the TAC-57. However, if you want to unlock it for any gun and you want to be able to use it in any class setup, you need to level up the Expedite 12 shotgun in order to unlock this optic for all. Now moving on, we have the underbarrel. Now underbarrels tend to work a lot different in Modern Warfare 2 as they have done in games previously. Previously, the underbarrel grip would be the main recoil attachment for the build, that and the stock. However, it seems like in this game they're focusing a lot more on the hip fire stat when you're using an underbarrel. With that being said, sometimes you can find some gems and sometimes you will have unlocked some stuff that can really help the build that you have in mind. One thing to note is a lot of these attachments are going to affect that ADS speed, and for the assault rifles, that's something you really want to steer away from, just because being able to aim and pull up your weapon first is going to win you a lot more gunfights. So for this build, I'm just going to choose the Operator foregrip purely because the only negative it has is the hip walking speed, but you do get that aim walking steadiness, which means if you're firing whilst you're walking, you're going to again have a lot less of that side-to-side bounce. And there we have it. I really wanted to just break down a quick tutorial on how to build out a good class setup and how to make sure that you're getting the best out of your builds. Obviously, there are going to be an infinite amount of combinations, and I can't sit here and tell you that I know the absolute best one or that this is OP, because honestly, if people are saying that at this stage in the game without having unlocked every single gun and tested every single gun, the cold fact of the matter is they're probably lying to you. But anyway, I really hope that this little video helped you, and I really hope that you can make some absolutely kick-ass builds in Modern Warfare 2. For those of you who have watched my videos for a while, you'll know that I love to see who sticks around until the end. So if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this question down in the comments. Tell me the name of your favorite band, but replace one of the words with penis. Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.